There are still places in this world where human footsteps have rarely, if ever, touched, where time no longer follows the rules we know. In distant villages, hidden from view, only the wind and ancient stones remain, clinging to impossible cliffs, slowly reclaimed by nature. Along forgotten mountainsides, broken settlements lie abandoned, as if someone left in haste, leaving behind an untold story. Deep within valleys that maps dare not name, cold and winding paths stretch into darkness, opening the way to a realm untouched by modern civilization. These fragments are not random. They awaken a primal curiosity, a sense that something was deliberately hidden from the eyes of the world. Haid al-Jazal is set within a narrow valley in the Hadramaut region, where dense isolation and winding mountain roads make access difficult year-round, especially during sandstorms. On the rocky slope, homes stand over a massive stone monolith built centuries ago. Each designed to hold intact human families inside sealed mud brick vaults. What puzzles archaeologists is that many of the structures were placed in perfect geometric alignment. Even though there are no visible roads or infrastructure in the area that could justify their precise positioning. The village appears to have been constructed according to a master plan that no longer exists in any written form. No written documents from the time of construction remain, and no formal excavation has been done to determine how many families live inside or what internal layouts exist. All entrances remain functional, and visitors are allowed only during daylight hours due to visible cracks in the stone that suggest structural instability. Some building clusters face different directions and have varying shapes, leading to debates about social ranking or shifts in building customs across generations. The mud brick construction shows evidence of techniques that don't match the tools and methods documented for the region during the estimated construction period. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have detected hollow spaces beneath the village that may indicate underground chambers or passages. Kandavan is located in the volcanic mountain region of northwestern Iran, where cone-shaped rock formations were created by ancient eruptions thousands of years ago. Local residents carved into the soft rock to build homes, storage areas, and animal shelters with continuous habitation traced back to the 13th century. It remains one of the few rock settlements in the world where people still live regularly instead of being converted entirely into tourist or museum zones. Tourist access is limited to specific viewing paths, and active rock homes are not open to visitors. The volcanic rock formations show evidence of carving techniques that achieved precision levels, difficult to replicate with medieval tools. Many inhabited units have not been scientifically studied, leading to gaps in understanding about interior changes and cultural shifts over time. Some theories have questioned whether part of the formations have been altered due to maintenance or tourism purposes. But no official scientific proof has confirmed this. There is still no clear conclusion on why this location was originally chosen for permanent settlement despite its harsh weather conditions, prompting continued academic debate. The thermal properties of the volcanic rock dwellings provide natural climate control that maintains comfortable temperatures year-round without any artificial heating or cooling systems. The structural engineering distributes weight in ways that allow them to withstand earthquakes and extreme weather. Shibam is located in a remote desert region in southeastern Yemen, accessible only by specialized off-road vehicles or small aircraft. The landscape is unusual, with massive mud brick towers reaching up to 9 stories high, standing in dense formation across an otherwise barren landscape. For centuries, the area has been known as an architectural marvel, where hundreds of structures were built using only sun-dried mud, leaving construction techniques that modern engineers still cannot fully replicate. One recorded case involves towers that have survived flash floods and earthquakes that destroyed other settlements in the region. Besides the towers, many underground water systems and storage chambers are also found in the area, creating infrastructure that seems disproportionate to the current population. The combination of extreme construction methods, isolation, and unexplained water management systems makes Shibam one of the most mysterious urban settlements in the Arabian Peninsula. The Dragon's Backbone rice terraces are located in a mountainous region of southern China, where steep terrain and seasonal weather make access challenging throughout the year. The terraces cover approximately 66 square kilometers of hand-carved agricultural engineering spanning over 700 years of construction. What makes this site unusual is the mathematical precision of the terrace construction. Each level follows natural mountain contours with such accuracy that modern surveying equipment confirms tolerances within centimeters across vast distances. The geometric precision suggests the use of sophisticated planning and measurement techniques that weren't formally documented for the region during the construction period. The Yao and Zhuang minorities, who built and maintain these terraces, use techniques that have remained unchanged for centuries. They carry heavy loads along narrow stone paths without safety equipment, while the terraces themselves require constant maintenance using only traditional tools. The construction methods show understanding of soil mechanics and water management that modern agricultural engineering is studying. Some areas of the terraces show geometric patterns that don't follow typical agricultural layouts, suggesting purposes beyond simple farming. The combination of extreme precision, traditional construction methods, and unexplained geometric elements continues to make this site a subject of ongoing research. During certain seasons, the flooded terraces create mirror effects visible from satellite imagery, forming patterns that some researchers suggest may have astronomical significance. Monsanto is located in a granite boulder field in central Portugal, where massive stone formations create a landscape unlike anywhere else in Europe. The village is built not around these boulders, but integrated directly into them, with houses carved into and built beneath granite stones weighing hundreds of tons. The construction techniques used to integrate buildings with natural boulders show engineering knowledge that modern architects find difficult to replicate. Some houses are completely enclosed within single granite formations, with structural modifications that should have caused the stones to crack or shift. The precision of the stone cutting and the understanding of granite's structural properties exceed many contemporary masonry projects. Geological surveys have shown that the village acts as a single structural unit. with the buildings and boulders forming an integrated system that flexes during seismic activity. This earthquake-resistant design predates modern seismic engineering by centuries. The builders understood how to work with the natural stress patterns in granite to create stable foundations. The thermal properties of the granite-integrated buildings provide natural climate control that maintains comfortable temperatures year-round without any artificial heating or cooling systems. The builders somehow understood how to work with the thermal mass of granite in ways that modern sustainable architecture is only beginning to rediscover. Some of the boulder integrations show tool marks and construction techniques that don't match the historical record of available technology in the region. Pitigliano is located on a volcanic tufa plateau in central Italy, where the entire city appears to grow directly from the cliff face. The settlement is carved from the same volcanic rock formation it sits upon, creating a seamless integration between natural geology and human architecture that challenges conventional understanding of ancient construction capabilities. The Etruscan construction techniques used to carve the city from living rock show engineering capabilities that challenge conventional understanding of ancient technology. Underground networks extend deep into the tufa cliff, with chambers and passages that maintain perfect structural integrity after over 2,500 years. The precision of the rock cutting exceeds many contemporary stoneworking projects. Recent analysis has revealed that the carved tufa surfaces have actually hardened over time, becoming more durable than when they were first cut. This suggests the Etruscans used techniques that chemically altered the rock structure in ways that modern materials science is still trying to understand. The process appears to involve controlled exposure to specific environmental conditions that strengthen the volcanic rock. The underground water management system includes pressure regulation mechanisms carved from solid stone that automatically adjust flow rates based on seasonal conditions. These hydraulic controls are integrated into the original construction and show knowledge of fluid dynamics that wasn't formally documented until much later periods. Some areas of the underground network remain unexplored due to structural concerns, leaving questions about the full extent and purpose of the Etruscan engineering project. Ronda is located on a dramatic limestone gorge in southern Spain, where the city sits atop cliffs that drop 120 meters into the Guadalquivir River Valley. The settlement is built on foundations that extend deep into the cliff face, through a network of caves and tunnels carved directly into the rock. Medieval construction techniques used to anchor the city to the cliff face include structural elements that modern engineers recognize as earthquake-dampening systems. These carved stone mechanisms allow the buildings to flex during seismic activity without collapsing, using principles that weren't formally understood until the 20th century. The famous Puente Nuevo Bridge spans the gorge using construction methods that pushed 18th century engineering to its limits. But the medieval foundations it rests on were built using techniques that modern engineers admit they couldn't replicate without advanced machinery. The bridge construction required understanding of stress distribution and material properties that exceeded the formal engineering knowledge of the period. Underground surveys have revealed that the cliffside foundations extend much deeper than previously known, with chambers and passages that serve structural purposes not fully understood. Some of these underground spaces show evidence of construction techniques that don't match the historical record of available technology. The city's water management system channels underground springs through carved stone conduits that have provided fresh water for over 800 years without any maintenance or replacement of the original infrastructure. Albarracin is located on an irregular rocky outcrop in the mountains of Aragon, where the medieval city is built on terrain so steep and unstable that modern building codes would prohibit construction. The settlement has survived for over 1,000 years using construction techniques that modern engineers are still trying to understand. The distinctive pink buildings are constructed using a clay, sand, and lime mixture that creates a material stronger than many modern building materials while remaining flexible enough to move with the irregular rock foundation. The formula for this construction material has been lost, and attempts to recreate it have been unsuccessful. Despite being built on a rocky outcrop with no natural water source, the city has never experienced water shortages. The medieval water management system captures and stores rainwater through a network of channels and cisterns carved into bedrock with efficiency that modern water systems struggle to match. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed that the water system extends much deeper into the mountain than previously known. With chambers and reservoirs that maintain water quality for extended periods without any treatment or filtration systems. The water storage technology shows understanding of hydrology and water chemistry that predates formal documentation of these sciences. The structural engineering that allows buildings to stand at impossible angles on irregular terrain uses weight distribution techniques that seem to defy conventional physics, yet have proven more durable than modern construction methods. Matera is located in the limestone cliffs of southern Italy, where people have lived continuously in carved cave dwellings for over 9,000 years. The Sassi districts represent one of the world's oldest urban settlements, with sophisticated infrastructure that modern cities struggle to match. The ancient water collection and distribution system captures every drop of rainfall and channels it through underground cisterns using only gravity and geometric precision. The system includes pressure regulators carved from solid stone that automatically adjust flow rates based on seasonal conditions. The hydraulic engineering shows understanding of fluid dynamics that wasn't formally documented until much later periods. Recent ground-penetrating radar has revealed vast underground networks that extend over 100 meters into the bedrock, with chambers and passages whose purposes remain unknown. Some areas show evidence of construction techniques that don't match the tools and methods available during the historical construction periods. The cave dwellings maintain constant temperatures of 15 degrees Celsius year-round, without any artificial climate control, using thermal properties of limestone that modern sustainable architecture is trying to replicate. The acoustic properties of the carved spaces create sound effects that seem deliberately engineered for specific purposes. Many of the underground areas remain unexplored due to structural concerns and access restrictions, leaving significant gaps in understanding about the full extent and capabilities of this ancient urban system. Cappadocia is located in the volcanic landscape of central Turkey, where underground cities were carved into soft volcanic rock to house up to 20,000 people. The engineering systems in these subterranean settlements challenge conventional understanding of ancient construction capabilities. Derinkuyu, the deepest of these cities, descends 18 levels into the earth with over 15,000 ventilation shafts, providing fresh air to every level. The main ventilation shaft descends 85 meters and is designed with such precision that air flows naturally through the entire complex without any mechanical assistance. The ventilation engineering shows understanding of air pressure and circulation that exceeds many modern building systems. The acoustic properties of the underground chambers are so precisely engineered that whispers in one room can be heard clearly in another room 3 levels away. But only in specific locations. This wasn't accidental. The sound transmission was deliberately designed into the architecture. The acoustic engineering suggests understanding of sound wave propagation that wasn't formally documented until much later periods. Carbon dating shows these cities were carved over 4,000 years ago, yet they include features that suggest knowledge of advanced physics and engineering principles that weren't formally documented until much later periods. The construction techniques used to create such massive underground spaces without structural collapse remain unexplained. Recent thermal imaging has revealed that the cities extend even deeper than previously mapped, with sealed passages and chambers that may contain additional information about the builder's capabilities. Civita di Bagnoregio is located on an eroding volcanic plateau in central Italy, accessible only by a narrow pedestrian bridge spanning a deep valley. The medieval village sits on tufa rock that continuously erodes, yet the 2,500-year-old Etruscan foundations continue to support the settlement. The village's survival depends on constant maintenance, using traditional techniques that treat erosion as a manageable force rather than an insurmountable problem. The construction methods used by the Etruscans created foundations that flex and adapt to changing geological conditions. The engineering principles behind this adaptability remain partially understood. Recent geological surveys suggest the village has perhaps 50 years before erosion makes it uninhabitable, yet the structural integrity of the ancient foundations continues to exceed that of modern buildings in the region. The Etruscan engineering techniques remain partially understood. The population has dwindled to fewer than 20 permanent residents, yet the medieval architecture remains perfectly preserved. The isolation created by the eroding landscape has protected the village from modern development, while creating a unique laboratory for studying ancient construction techniques. Some areas of the village show evidence of construction methods that don't match the historical record of available technology, suggesting the Etruscans possessed engineering knowledge that has been lost to modern understanding. The water management system continues to function effectively despite the ongoing erosion, with channels and cisterns that adapt to changing ground conditions. Gassa d'Allur is located on a remote plateau in the Faroe Islands, where only 18 residents endure Atlantic storms, with winds regularly exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. The village represents one of the most extreme examples of human adaptation to harsh environmental conditions. The traditional grass roof houses use construction techniques developed by Viking settlers that anchor structures directly to bedrock. The building methods allow the houses to flex with extreme winds rather than resist them, using principles that modern wind-resistant architecture is studying. The construction techniques show understanding of aerodynamics and structural flexibility that exceeds many contemporary building systems. Until 2004, the village was accessible only by treacherous mountain paths that could be impassable for months during winter storms. The community survived complete isolation, using traditional pharaohs techniques for food preservation, water collection, and energy generation. The survival strategies represent knowledge accumulated over centuries of extreme weather adaptation. The village's hydroelectric system uses the nearby Moula Fossur waterfall to generate power, with infrastructure that has operated reliably for decades despite extreme weather conditions. The engineering solutions developed for this harsh environment exceed the performance of many modern systems in similar conditions. The survival strategies used by Gassadalur residents represent knowledge accumulated over centuries of extreme weather adaptation. With techniques that modern sustainable living advocates are trying to understand and replicate. Hallstatt is located between Hallstätter Sea and the Dachstein Mountains, where the village has been continuously inhabited for over 4,000 years due to extensive salt mining operations. The settlement represents one of the world's oldest industrial communities, with infrastructure that continues to function after millennia. The Hallstatt salt mine includes underground slides and transport systems carved into the mountain that are still operational today. Some of these wooden slide systems are over 60 meters long and represent engineering solutions that modern mining operations find difficult to improve upon. The mining engineering shows understanding of geology and materials handling that exceeds many contemporary operations. The village's unique bonehouse tradition arose from limited cemetery space, with over 1,200 decorated skulls representing a cultural adaptation to geographical constraints. This practice demonstrates how communities develop sustainable solutions to resource limitations over extended time periods. The traditional alpine construction techniques used in Hallstatt allow buildings to withstand heavy snow loads and occasional flooding, while maintaining structural integrity for centuries. The building methods integrate with natural drainage systems that prevent the landslides common in similar terrain. Recent tourism pressure threatens to overwhelm the village's traditional character, with daily visitor numbers sometimes exceeding the permanent population by factors of 10. The challenge of preserving authentic cultural practices while managing modern economic pressures represents a contemporary test of the community's adaptive capabilities. Rocamadour is built into a limestone cliff in southwestern France, rising in dramatic tiers from the Alzou River Valley to a castle perched on the summit. This medieval sanctuary appears to defy gravity, with buildings literally stacked vertically up the cliff face, each level carved into the living rock. For over 1,000 years, pilgrims have climbed the 216 stone steps on their knees to reach the chapel of Notre Dame, where a Black Madonna statue has drawn the faithful from across Europe. The Grand Escalier, as these steps are known, is worn smooth by millions of pilgrims who made this painful ascent as an act of devotion. But Rocamadour's most impressive feature isn't its religious significance, it's the engineering marvel that allows an entire town to exist on a vertical cliff face. Houses, churches, and shops are literally stacked on top of each other. With the roof of one building serving as the foundation for the next. The entire complex is anchored to the cliff by foundations carved deep into the limestone. The medieval builders created a sophisticated water management system that channels mountain springs through the vertical settlement. Stone gutters and channels carved into the cliff face direct rainwater away from the buildings, while underground cisterns store fresh water for the community. What modern engineers find most remarkable is how the builders solved the problem of structural stability on such steep terrain. Each building is designed to transfer its weight to the cliff face through a network of stone buttresses and arches. Positano tumbles down the steep cliffs of the Amalfi Coast like a colorful waterfall frozen in stone, its pastel houses seeming to defy gravity as they cascade toward the Mediterranean Sea. Built on terrain so steep that the rooftops of lower buildings serve as gardens and terraces for the houses above. This vertical village represents one of the most audacious examples of cliffside architecture in the world. The medieval engineers who built Positano created a system where each building literally supports the next, forming a human cascade that has defied landslides and earthquakes for over 1,000 years. The foundations are carved deep into the cliff face, with each house anchored to the bedrock through a network of stone supports that are invisible from the narrow streets. Walking through Positano's maze of staircases and narrow alleys, you realize that the entire village functions as a single architectural organism. Water from mountain springs is channeled through a hidden network of stone conduits that run beneath the houses, providing fresh water while preventing erosion of the cliff face. The famous ceramic-tiled domes that crown many of Positano's buildings aren't just decorative. They're engineered to shed rainwater quickly while providing structural strength. The tiles are made from local clay that expands and contracts with temperature changes, creating a flexible roof system that moves with the building rather than cracking under stress. But perhaps most remarkable is how Positano's builders solved the problem of building materials. Every stone, every tile, every beam had to be carried down the cliff face by hand or by donkey along paths so narrow that modern vehicles cannot navigate them. Ezi is perched 427 meters above the Mediterranean on a rocky peak that seems designed by nature to be impregnable. This medieval village crowns a limestone outcrop with such dramatic positioning that it appears to float above the French Riviera, accessible only by winding mountain paths that test the determination of every visitor. The village is built entirely of local stone that blends seamlessly with the cliff face, creating a settlement that seems to grow from the mountain itself like a natural formation shaped by wind and time and human will into something that transcends the boundary between geology and architecture. Stone houses built directly into cliff faces seem to grow from the rock itself, each turn revealing another miracle of medieval engineering that treated stone like clay and impossibility like an invitation to create something beautiful. Narrow passages wind between buildings that appear to be extensions of the natural rock formations. The village includes a sophisticated rainwater collection system carved into the bedrock that has supplied fresh water for over 1,000 years, turning every drop of rain into liquid life that flows through stone channels like the blood of the mountain itself. The engineering shows understanding of limestone's properties and water flow patterns that exceeds contemporary knowledge. Recent studies have revealed that the village's construction creates beneficial microclimates that provide protection from extreme weather while maintaining access to natural resources. The environmental engineering effects of the human settlement extend beyond the immediate building areas, with the stone construction moderating temperature extremes and providing natural wind protection that makes the harsh mountain environment more habitable. Vernazza is one of the Cinque Terre's 5 jewels, built around a natural harbor carved into coastal cliffs like an amphitheater designed by the sea itself. Its colorful houses rise directly from the Mediterranean in a celebration of human audacity and natural beauty that seems almost too perfect to be real. The foundations extend underwater like the roots of some impossible tree that grows from the sea floor toward the sky. While medieval engineers created a complex system of breakwaters and channels carved from solid rock that protects the village from storms while allowing boats to dock safely in the tiny harbor. Walking through Venezzia's narrow streets, where the sound of waves mingles with the laughter of children and the scent of basil and sea salt fills the air, you realize that this isn't just a fishing village. It's a love letter written by humans to the sea, a promise carved in stone that beauty and practicality can dance together on the edge of the world. The harbor itself is a masterpiece of medieval engineering. With stone quays that seem to grow from the seafloor and protective walls that channel the wave's energy rather than fighting it, creating a safe haven that has sheltered boats and dreams for over 1,000 years. The village's construction includes sophisticated drainage systems that manage both rainwater and sea spray, with channels carved into the cliff face that prevent erosion while maintaining the structural integrity of the buildings. The integration of human settlement with natural coastal processes represents an early example of sustainable coastal engineering that modern seaside communities are studying for climate adaptation strategies. Santorini is built on the rim of an active volcanic caldera like a crown of white jewels adorning the head of a sleeping giant. The cliffside villages seem to float above the Aegean Sea in defiance of gravity and in celebration of human courage that builds homes on the edge of volcanoes. The whitewashed buildings are carved directly into the volcanic rock, creating cave-like structures that stay cool in summer heat, while their curved architecture deflects the strong Aegean winds like sails designed to work with the elements rather than against them. The unique pumice stone construction provides natural insulation, while the buildings seem to grow from the cliff face like white flowers blooming from black volcanic soil. Each structure positioned to capture the perfect view while protecting its inhabitants from the forces that could destroy lesser settlements. At sunset, when the white buildings glow like pearls against the dark volcanic rock and the sea stretches endlessly toward the horizon, Santorini reveals itself not just as a village, but but as a meditation on beauty, courage, and the human capacity to create paradise even on the rim of hell. The volcanic soil and unique microclimate created by the caldera's geography produce distinctive agricultural products. Including wine grapes that grow in volcanic ash and develop flavors impossible to replicate elsewhere. The traditional construction methods work with the volcanic environment rather than against it, creating buildings that have survived multiple earthquakes and volcanic eruptions while maintaining their structural integrity and aesthetic beauty. Gimmelwald clings to a narrow ledge high in the Swiss Alps, accessible only by cable car or a treacherous mountain path that tests the resolve of every visitor. This tiny village of fewer than 100 residents represents one of the last authentic alpine communities where traditional Swiss mountain life continues largely unchanged by modern tourism. The village sits at 1,363 meters above sea level, surrounded by towering peaks that create a natural amphitheater of stone and snow. Traditional wooden chalets, built using centuries-old techniques, dot the mountainside, their steep roofs designed to shed heavy snow loads, while their thick timber walls provide insulation against brutal alpine winters. The construction methods used in Gimmelwald represent knowledge accumulated over centuries of mountain living, with buildings positioned to take advantage of solar exposure while protecting against avalanches and rockfall. The village's survival depends on understanding mountain weather patterns and working with natural forces rather than resisting them. Chefchaouen nestles in the Rif Mountains of northern Morocco, its buildings painted in distinctive shades of blue that create a dreamlike atmosphere unlike anywhere else in the world. Founded in 1471 as a fortress to defend against Portuguese invasions, the city has evolved into a unique cultural sanctuary where Berber, Arab, and Andalusian influences blend in perfect harmony. The tradition of painting buildings blue has multiple explanations, from practical considerations about insect control to spiritual beliefs about protection from evil. The various shades of blue create a cooling effect in the hot mountain climate, while the narrow streets and covered passages provide natural air conditioning through careful manipulation of airflow and shade. The city's construction follows traditional Moroccan architectural principles, with buildings organized around central courtyards that provide private outdoor space, while maintaining the dense urban fabric necessary for defense and community life. The integration of Spanish and Moroccan architectural elements reflects the city's history as a refuge for Muslims and Jews fleeing the Spanish Reconquista. Each of these villages exists at the intersection of human ingenuity and natural forces, representing solutions to challenges that modern engineering is still trying to understand. They remain as fragments of knowledge, partially decoded, partially mysterious, continuing to challenge our assumptions about what ancient communities could achieve in the most impossible locations on Earth.